Let's bring in our headliner. Former Congressman Trey Gowdy is a Fox News contributor. Trey, good morning to you. Appreciate your time this morning. First of all, characterize yesterday for us. How did you see it?
Train wreck, an unmitigated disaster. Expectations always outpace the reality with congressional hearings, but the disparity yesterday was pretty stark. And Sandra, I've been part of some dud congressional hearings myself. Yesterday was just a disaster.
I missed seeing you in that committee hearing yesterday. You're a former prosecutor, and you always ask very pointed questions. Is there a question you would have asked that did not get asked yesterday?
Gosh, I hated when people did that to me. I mean, I left, so I thought Ratcliffe did a fantastic job, Devin, Mike Turner. The only thing I probably would have done is follow up. You know, when Mueller says, well, that was out of my purview, why? I mean, how in the world can a meeting that took place the day before Trump Tower and the day after Trump Tower, how can those meetings be outside your purview, but Trump Tower be in your purview? And I thought Johnny did a great job on the exoneration. So did Mike Turner, but I would have beaten the hell out of that exoneration. There's no prosecutor in the country that's ever set out to exonerate someone else. So follow up, but in terms of the original questions, I thought the Republicans were really well prepared.
We are looking live in Washington right now. Nancy Pelosi is set to speak to reporters, Trey. As we now know, Democrats have to decide what is the future? What course will they take? She's expected to talk about the first 200 days of the new Congress. Obviously, Robert Mueller and yesterday's hearings could come up. We'll be listening for that. But how do Democrats proceed, Trey?
Well, they have an internecine battle going on, just like Republicans did when I was there. They've got the progressives and their base that really wants something done to this president because they didn't want him to win in the first place. And then you got Pelosi that I think politically understands the dumbest thing they can do going into 2020 is waste more time on an investigation that most Americans think is unwarranted. So she's got a leadership crisis. I will give this to the Democrats. They usually squabble more in private, whereas Republicans like to fight in public. But this internecine battle is spilling out into the public, and she's got a problem on her hands.
One of the bedrock principles of the American legal system is that you are innocent until proven guilty. And this whole question about Robert Mueller saying he was unable to exonerate the president, that was not his mission, was it? The president, like every other American, is considered innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yes, and when I was in a courtroom, the judge would tell the jury that defendant is cloaked with a robe of righteousness, and that cloak will only be removed if the government proves every element of the offense beyond a reasonable doubt. You are presumed innocent unless something else happens. You have no duty to prove your own innocence. In fact, you can't prove your own innocence. And then you factor into this, John, that 60 Democrats wanted to impeach President Trump before Mueller said a single solitary word in his report. I mean, how would you react if you were accused of a crime for which you could be hanged? What would your reaction be? I mean, I think your defense would be pretty vigorous. So where the line between vigorously defending yourself against a capital crime in a political environment and obstruction is, I think most Americans would say, you know what, I'd fight pretty hard, too, if someone was trying to delegitimize my presidency and accuse me of a crime for which I could be hanged.
So we had a very good day today, the Republican Party, our country. There was no defense of what Robert Mueller was trying to defend, in all fairness to Robert Mueller. Whether his performance was a bad one or a good one, I think everybody understands that. I think everybody understands what's going on. There was no defense to this ridiculous hoax, this witch hunt that's been going on for a long time, pretty much from the time I came down on the escalator with our First Lady. And it's a disgrace what happened, but I think today proved a lot to everybody. In fact, some of my biggest opponents wrote things today that I wouldn't have believed they would have written, and I appreciate that they did that. This has been a very bad thing for our country. And despite everything we've been through, it's been an incredible 2.5 years for our country. The administration, our president, me, we've done a great job. We've got the strongest stock market, the best unemployment numbers, the most number of people ever working in the history of our country right now, almost 160 million. Our military has been rebuilt and getting even stronger. We've done a great job, and we've done it under this terrible, phony cloud, a phony cloud. That's all it was. And they should be ashamed of themselves, absolutely ashamed. And you know who knew it was a phony cloud more than anyone else? It was Schiff and Nadler and Schumer and Pelosi, every one of them. They all knew it was phony stuff. And you look at the polls are showing it maybe more than anybody else or anything else. And I've had my best polls, and I don't say why, but people see what's gone on in our country with this whole thing. I've been going through it for 3 years. For 3 years, all nonsense. So this was a very big day for our country. This was a very big day for the Republican Party. And you could say it was a great day for me, but I don't even like to say that. It's great. I'll tell you what, I very much appreciate those incredible warriors that you watched today on television, Republicans, that defended something and defended something very powerful, very important, because they were really defending our country. More than anything else, they were defending our country. But they were warriors, and they've been warriors for a long time. And everybody knew it was a hoax, especially the Democrats. I wish we could be a fly in the wall in those rooms where the Democrats would go in and talk before and after meetings, and they'd be laughing and smiling and say, can you believe that we're getting away with this? But in the end, they didn't get away with it. Yeah. The Democrats lost so big today. Their party is in shambles right now. They've got the squad leading their party. They are a mess, where even you take a look at Scribe and you take a look at so many of the people that were the most outspoken, and they say this was a devastating day for the Democrats. And you know it, John, and everybody else knows it. This was a devastating day for the Democrats.